Awesome. Hi.
Hello, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Before we start, I have to say the way you play emotion is fantastic.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Because, before I watched Newborn, I watched Vast Reeves.
Okay. Okay. Oh, great.
So I got to see a lot of that dark side that you have that's, dealing with pain and emotion and just frustration.
Mm, yeah.
And it's great.
Yeah, I probably need to gravitate to roles that are a bit less costly on the emotions. But you know, I love the opportunity to portray characters that are truly and fully human. And so between Bass Reeves and Chris Newborn, that's what those characters have in spades.
Right, right. And, you know, how did you get in the headspace for this film? Because it's pretty dark.
Yeah, I mean, solitary confinement, as you can imagine, 23 hours a day, and in Chris Newborn's case for 7 years, that you are going to go to some dark places. That is an incredibly challenging circumstance to find yourself in. And what people might not realize is that 80,000 men, women, and children are in solitary confinement in America today. So someone you knew or know or will know may well have dealt with this to a greater or lesser extent. How I was able to get in that headspace was I read a lot of accounts of people who had dealt with solitary confinement, but I also shadowed a gentleman named Richard Rosario who had been wrongfully imprisoned for 20 years, and seven of those were in solitary confinement. And a lot of the emotional landscape of the film was very much built on his experience. And he had a wife, Minerva, has a wife, Minerva, who stuck with him for those 20 years. He's been out for 10 years now. They're still together. And, that very much shaped the love story within our film as well. Olivia Washington, who plays my wife in the film, spoke a fair bit to Minerva, and I spent a lot of time with Richard Rosario, which was our way into the truth of that reality.
Right. I can't even imagine what somebody would experience because, laying in bed at night with, 10 minutes in my own head is just enough. I could not imagine living that way for 7 years.
I know. I know. It is unimaginable. And, that's why we chose to tell the story as a psychological thriller in a sense, because, I think that's what you just said there about being in your own head for 10 minutes. I share that as something that would be very uncomfortable. I think most people would. So you can only imagine the effect it has on the mind. And that's what we try to illustrate cinematically with the film.
Right, right. And it's so full of emotion. I mean, on both sides, both your characters and hers. And the bond of two people staying together throughout
Mm,
that,
mm,
especially knowing that you're innocent,
mm.
is just something else.
Well, it's extraordinary how many people are innocent of the crime they're convicted of, but a lot more people are not, um, I would say, worthy of being put in solitary confinement when they are in prison because it's prison guards basically who, you can talk back to them, whatever it is, considering how debilitating solitary confinement is, and considering that it's not a judge, it's not a jury, there are no guardrails around it. You can be in there for a day, you could be in there for 10 years for the same thing. And that just in a civilized society, for that to be a reality is just unthinkable, really. And so again, that was just one of the things that I just couldn't believe that you could find yourself in that circumstance. Imagine if you were innocent of the original crime, which was the case with Richard Rosario. He was accused of a crime that took place in the Bronx while he was in Florida. And it was only because he was so frustrated by his situation that he would lash out and then ended up in solitary confinement, which boy, would I lash out if I
Yeah.
were in prison for 20 years for something I didn't do. So, it's a really challenging circumstance. But as you say, the fact that the love of his family kept him going and the fact that they were still there after he came out, that's very much what we illustrate with our film because it's not about Chris's incarceration. It's about his attempt to reconnect with his family after the fact. And I think that's something far more relatable in a sense for an audience.
Yes, yes, definitely. And it's so difficult and it's not right. They shouldn't be, solitary confinement, period, in my opinion, because
Hmm.
it's cruel. It's, cruel and
Very.
unusual punishment.
Yeah, yeah.
But, not giving away any spoilers, the room reveal
Mm,
hit me like a ton of bricks.
mm, mm,
That was it just to imagine a man has suffered all this, gotten free, but he can't be free.
yeah.
It's just a difficult thing to grasp, I guess.
Well, that's the thing. It's not just an imprisonment and a confinement of the body. It's a confinement of the mind. And when it has happened for that long, it doesn't just end because you're walking out of there. And the reality is also that it doesn't end for the family, who are also dealing with the byproducts of that confinement. Um, the question the film asks is love enough? Is love enough to get you through something that debilitating? And in my opinion, the answer is not always yes, but sometimes it is. And considering just how impossible of a situation that must be to find yourself in, the fact that there is anything that can help you towards healing is kind of extraordinary.
Right, right. And, just to see his process, how he evolves from, right out of jail to being back with his family, it's shocking because it feels so real.
Mm, yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, well, but that's because it is, like I say, even though it's a psychological thriller, even though it's a movie, the circumstances that we illustrate in the film are very much rooted in truth and research. And, we felt we couldn't go anywhere near this subject matter if we were just going to exploit it to tell a story in a film. We had to have something that anyone who had endured solitary confinement would watch and go, okay, these people did the work. These people are telling the truth of that circumstance. And so that, yeah, that was a burden of responsibility we felt very strongly about.
right. And the big twist.
Mm,
I was like, usually I see things coming. I've watched a lot of movies, but I did not see that.
mm.
It kind of hit me from the side, and I was like, and it made things so much just more difficult because
Mm.
then you know fully what this guy's going through, and
Yeah.
just oh my gosh,
Well, I'm glad, that of course is what it's designed to do. And the idea is that it's a thrill ride alongside all of the feels and all of the emotion and all of the hopefully connection you have to the family and what they're dealing with. But, I personally love it when I'm watching a film and I go, whoa, I did not see that coming. That's one of the things that thrillers are defined by in a sense. And yeah, I think this is very elegantly done from that point of view, but it's also rooted in character. This is the kind of thing that happens to the mind after you've been subjected to this.
I couldn't imagine it. There's no way I could have walked out of that situation and been anywhere near normal.
Right.
I mean, it's just the mind was not built for something like that.
That is correct. And when people ask me what I'm hoping people take away from the film, that's it, that you can look at it and go, I don't think that's right. And if that is happening to the degree that I'm hearing in this country that is deemed to be the height of civilization, we really need to take a look at that. And because I feel the same, I would not be able to endure that. I just don't think I would, and I don't think one should. I don't think that's what we're designed to cope with as human beings, which is why folks who have endured it are never quite the same again.
Right. It is just, it takes you on an emotional ride, but it's constantly throwing you off balance, the film, in my opinion.
Hmm.
It's like you can't get comfortable. It doesn't have like a smooth ride. It
Hmm.
keeps you on the edge of your seat and be like, is this real? Is that real? What's going on? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And I
yeah.
appreciate that.
Hmm. Well, good, and I hope the audience generally appreciates that as well. You want to be edge of your seat. You want to be, where is this going? And that's why I'm really hoping a lot of people see it in a movie theater because I've seen it in a communal experience in a movie theater now. And it is a roller coaster ride. It is, and I think that gets enhanced by, the cinematic experience. So I just feel very blessed that our release is a nationwide one and that hopefully it means a lot of people will see it under those circumstances because that's certainly what it's designed to do.
And I really hope that it starts a conversation that can evolve into change because, it's the humanity issue for me.
Yeah.
And
For me
it's
too, for myself and Nate, and so yes, we want to entertain. Yes, it's a movie, but in there is some social commentary as well that I'm hoping moves people to action.
Well, like I said, it was fantastic to me. I really enjoyed it. And I always enjoy a movie where, like just do so great at when it comes to pain and struggle, and the way you emote emotion is just fantastic.
Thank you. I
So,
appreciate that one. It's not the easiest thing, so when it's appreciated, it means a lot. Thank you.
like I said, I'm a fan. Love Basseries. Selma was brilliant.
Mm,
So,
thank
this one is no different. And like I said, I really hope that it does trigger something.
thank you. I really, really appreciate that.